Wait, what just happened? Are we recording? Is this thing on? Okay. We're going to talk about something very dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous times in your career, in my opinion. And I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story about how this happened to me and how I discovered it back in the 90s. And then, and it's going to just bear with me, okay? So back in the 90s, I was, Nike's webmaster. A lot of you know that. And thank you for the hats off. And I mean, I got an award, one of the few coveted awards. There's a finish line award for building their SwooshNet, their internal network, and everything. The reason you need to know that is because around that time, I was also giving a lot of presentations, convention presentations, and my skills were at the top of my game. I was at the top of my game. My skills were really good. I had really built them up a lot. I'd spent a lot of private time building my skill set. And maybe this sounds like you, right? So you've dedicated a lot of time. You've built this amazing skill set. And now people are starting to take notice of you. And this is when the danger comes. So what happened was, because I had developed this reputation and all of these skills and was giving regular presentations and everything, I started getting away from the tech that gave me the reputation. And so the thing that I had a reputation for was knowing what was emerging, knowing what was good, knowing how to do it, learning it really quickly, being able to dissect it and research it, understand it, and then put it into terms that people could understand. These are all, skill sets that I have, and knowing your own skill set is sort of a separate topic. But the point is that I was not doing the thing that gave me the reputation. And somebody in the chat was talking about this. They're at this place in life where they are now, they're a manager. So kind of fast forward my situation, the story I'm telling you about. They are a manager, and they're over 5 or 6 people, and they're in meetings all the time, and they're dealing with support tickets, and they're in meetings. They're completely separated from the technology. Now, I call that, I don't know what a better term for this is, but I have often called this manager suck. And the reason I call it suck, it's not because management sucks. I didn't even spell it right. Management. Do I have to remake this video because I spelled it wrong? Okay, I'm leaving it on because with the misspelling. I typed it really fast. Management. Maybe this is why I never got any real jobs. I put in I am putting this is my new way of spelling management. Just like Strimmer. I'm not a smart man. Okay, let me finish my story. I'm going to finish my story. Because I make videos quickly. So you have videos. Otherwise I don't make videos. So beware of the management. Job sucks creating an enterprise. Yeah, why not? Okay, so let me finish my story. I am not getting rid of this video. You can make fun of me for not knowing how to spell all you want. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it because I suck. I did this quickly. You should not listen to me. You really shouldn't. But I'm giving you at least one perspective. Okay, anyway. So, it's so pathetic. I can't stand it. I'm pathetic. Anyway, so this pathetic guy was all of a sudden getting asked to go. Raw is better. All right, well, Raw. So this pathetic guy was all of a sudden a subject matter expert, and I was getting called into all these meetings all the time. And guess what? Other people on my team were stepping in to do the fun stuff. They were doing the tech. They were installing the software. They were writing the software. They were playing around with hardware. They were dealing with Linux. They were the ones having all the fun. And I was getting pulled in these really boring ass meetings that were fun at first. At first, the meetings were really fun, right? Because they were massaging my ego and making me feel important. And oh my God, we got Rob here. We're super happy to have our subject matter expert and recently award winner, I'm like, yeah. It was for all the wrong reasons. I was going to these meetings, and yeah, I mean, everybody's vulnerable to this, right? We like being, the best at something. And I was. Okay, no cursing. I promise. And so, I mean, I definitely was. I definitely was the best at that stuff, right? Well, so you'll probably guess where this story's going. So the more I got pulled into these meetings, I got sucked into these meetings. See, that's where the word comes from. The more I got sucked into these meetings for being such a great, subject matter expert on this particular topic and blah 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 blah, talking about how to do things and helping them make intelligent decisions about the things, blah 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 blah. The more I got talking to it, the less typing I was doing. I wasn't doing any typing. I was just blah blah blahing. The ironic thing is that I didn't start making any more money. I just felt more important. And this is the danger, my friends. This is the this is the danger. The danger is this. Getting pulled away from your skill stack. I can't talk. I knocked my teeth out. Getting pulled away from the thing that makes you great. Your technology skills, your engineering skills, your whatever your core skills are. Getting pulled away from those things so that you can help other people succeed by giving your expertise to them for free in meetings without them paying you anymore, and taking you away from the ability to keep your skills up and learning them is a very dangerous place to be. It's a very dangerous place to be. You need to make a decision. And some of you watching this video are probably there right now. You can feel that you are not good with your technology. You're no longer the best at any of the things that got you the job or the award, right? You have become, sort of stale. And if you're in technology, this can take like a month. You can become stale. That because stuff moves so quickly, right? So 4 meetings in that month are going to make you more stale than a person who's a junior, who's probably making less than you, but they're doing more than you, and their skill set is rising fast. And we're gonna come back to this because you're there currently, right? So if you are, but I just want to tell you, this is a super dangerous time for you because this is what happens, right? Some hungry junior engineer, and there's actually another story. There's another target audience here. The other target audience is the hungry ass junior engineers who are motivated, who are getting told there's no jobs for junior engineers today. Now is your opportunity to strike. If you have a tech lead who is really egotistical, like I kind of was for that time, and getting pulled into these meetings, they're vulnerable, and you should strike. That's when you strike. That's when you shine. That's when you study. You don't even go to the meetings. No, that's your job. You need to go to the tech meetings. So yeah. Oh, thank you for going to those tech meetings. And then you sorry, I'm swearing. You like learn everything. You learn all the things. You start quietly saying, oh, I can help you out with that. You start taking over. You start shadow taking over all of the work of that person. You push them out of that job. Now, usually there's enough work to go around. They're not going to get pushed out. But with that, now you're shining because now you're cheaper and you're doing the same thing that other person was doing. And then you push that other person to make a decision. That other person either has to come back and say, scoot over, that's my project, which they will do, which is very unpopular, right? And they'll say, no, get out of go. That's my thing. Don't do it. Now, look, I'm not telling you to be, a technocrat. I'm not telling you to own the technocrat, but there are dynamics in the workplace. And I'm just telling you, this is how it ends up going down, right? So we're talking to 2 people here. We're talking to the hungry junior engineer and to the engineer who has let themselves be sucked away from the tech. They're sucked completely away from the technology. They've been flattered to death. They're in all of these meetings. They have no skills anymore. Their skills are completely soft. They couldn't even do the thing basic things anymore. You know it, but you feel it, right? And unless they've got a home lab and they're trying to keep up, technology bourgeoisie, and they're also not getting paid more. So let me talk to that person. I'm going to talk to that person first. You need to make a decision. And pardon my French, but shit or get off the pot. You either have to go full-blown manager, which is going to make more money and it's going to be more prestige and you're going to be asked to give more conference talks and seriously, it's going to be really great for your ego, but it might be really, really bad for your job security. Why? Who are the first people to get cut? Who are the first people to get cut when the economy turns down? They're the SMEs who have moved over into management who are not high enough in management to be able to protect themselves. They're not high enough in management to protect themselves. So when a cost savings event happens, They just they look at all the people that are making all the money, and they look at middle managers. That's what you've just become. And now you are a target. Don Tapscott, who wrote the Web Generation back in the 90s, I actually met him. And he said, and I sat in one of his meetings then, and I'm so glad that I sat in that meeting. I sat in the meeting, and he said, if you have middle in your name, change jobs now. And his whole take, which turned out to be completely true, was that the web, particularly at the time, this was in the 90s, that the web was going to remove all of the middle layers from everything. Just look at Amazon now. The entire retail market of our world is collapsing because everybody can buy something directly from Amazon or Alibaba or wherever the fuck. The point is, if you have middle manager in your name, in your title, your head is on the chopping block because more and more people are going to be able to and now that we have AI, more and more people are going to be able to, the people who need a thing, who have the money, can now, employ people who can make the thing more directly, and they don't need those middle managers as much. So to the person who is in the management position, who has decided to go into management, to tech management, team leads, minor tech leads, project managers. Project managers are a little bit of a different thing because they're not really necessarily technical, and they're usually delivering on projects, which does still keep them employed because they are still producing value. But the people that are doing those middle management things, those people are in great danger, particularly if you've been told that you're a tech lead and you're getting pulled away from the tech. So when I say, just be aware of it, right? If you want to go over there, and so what happened to me? I had to make a decision, right? And my decision was to start fighting back. And I said, no, I'm not going to these meetings anymore. And I used to very simply, I started turning down meetings. I did. I started turning down meetings. I turned down PM's useless. Yeah. Well, the reason you think they're useless is exactly what Tom Tapscott was talking about. You don't think they're necessary because you can take the stakeholders and have them talk directly to people doing the work. Right. And that is something that's something of a modern phenomenon. And I agree with that. Anyway, so when you consider all of these factors, and my decision at the time, this was 98, was to say no. I want to stay an engineer. I want to stay a technologist. I actually had a conversation with my manager. I loved her to death. She was amazing. And she was like, okay. And so they stopped calling me. They stopped bringing me in. I would still go out as a kind of a business systems analyst and help people, come to SwooshNet and know why they wanted it. I had to still market our services, but I could do that and still keep my tech skills fresh. And I did. I spent a lot of time doing that, and it worked out well until I started to have tension with some of the people on our team, which for many reasons, not all necessarily based on the fact that I was doing more of these things, but that eventually led to me moving to a different team and working on that team and having to deal with the same sort of thing. Then I had the opposite problem. Then they literally locked us in our cubicles when they were doing Nike ID, and we were working 90 hours a week. And they were destroying me, so much so that my wife at the time had a panic attack, and she came in and she screamed at all of them on a random Sunday when they told me I had to come in. And I said I was done. And the next day I was going to quit. It brought me in and talked to the manager. The manager said, we understand that you need a new transmission in your car because my wife had screamed at the top of her lungs the day before. And they said, we want to pay for that. So the moral of this story is, ultimately, they were working me too hard because I was doing the technology. I was good, and I was an engineer, and I decided I didn't want to be a manager, which meant that they were overworking me because I was an engineer, even though I could walk. They put us all in a room, said, hey, we know it's hard, but it's .com environment. Half the people quit the next day. One of the people that quit gave my name to their recruiter. Recruiter called me and said, I don't have time to talk to you unless you can double my salary. He says, no problem. Can you be in Dallas? I said, I flew to Dallas. They doubled my salary, and I got a job for IBM doing the same thing, doing technical things, just in a different area. But I was able to move around. I had the flexibility to move and leave and everything because why? Because I had a sharp skill set. I had kept my tools sharp. And my personal take on this, I think manager skills are absolutely amazing. In the first month I did training at IBM, they told me we had a thing where you had to do something outside of your comfort zone, and they had me be a manager for the team or mock team, and they said, "Man, you're good at this. You should do this." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I could have done it," but I don't like it because it makes me uncomfortable. Because there's always going to be people that are going to need Go skills, they're going to need Kubernetes, they're going to need Linux. There's people that are always going to need those things. And people that have money need those skills. They're always going to have those. They're going to need those skills. You keep good with those skills, and I call them fuck you skills, because you can leave instantly and go get a job someplace else at any time. At any time. In fact, so much so people become extremely arrogant who stay engineers. A lot of them, to the point where it kind of gets. There's lots of videos on YouTube about memes about this. So by staying an engineer, you're going to get overworked. You're not going to get paid as much. But when, stuff hits the fan, you're going to be able to pick up and walk, because you're going to have those skills that allow you to move and go anywhere you want. That flexibility and sustainability, and that feeling inside that I don't ever have to be afraid of a job. It's the feeling of absolute peace that I know that if I got fired today, I could have a job within a month, knowing that my skills are sharp. It's a very amazing feeling. You do not have that feeling if you're getting sucked by management into meetings and your skills are getting soft. You don't have the guarantee from the company that you're putting your trust in to give away your knowledge. You're giving away your knowledge to all these people in the room, and they're not paying you any more money, and you don't have any more job security. Is it worth it? You decide. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I would rather be and this it sounds like a flex, but I have been in many teams. I have been the lead. I've been the lead, but I was never lead in title, because people knew that they could come to Rob and ask me any question, and I would help them out, and I was okay with doing that. And I didn't hoard my skills. I was actually given a thanks award at IBM by several of my colleagues because I was so open with my skills, and I was so dedicated to keeping my Linux skills up. Like when we set up the DNS server, and I taught one of my Army. He was an Army guy, and he came in and he knew Solaris, but he didn't know Linux. I taught him Linux, and so this is the true definition of meritocracy. When your skills are so good that you lead automatically, you just lead. When you're in the room, they know. My wife is the same sort of person. She's just that kind of way with art, and she's just rising like crazy really quickly in her world because her sense of presence is just felt because she's just so capable. Right. I would rather be highly capable and paid modestly than overworked and or not as capable and involved in a lot of this meeting, even though I'm a live streamer. So I don't know. Don't trust your employers. Yeah. $1 million advice received at no cost. So maybe this will help you navigate the tech world. As I said, I want to speak a little bit to the junior again. I am swimming. Yes, I'm swimming. I'm swimming right here. So, a little bit of advice to the juniors again. And again, number one piece of advice: don't call yourself a junior. Stop it. You're not a junior. You're a programmer. You're an engineer. Stop calling yourself a junior. Okay, just stop. And I've done this video before. Stop calling yourself a junior. You're an engineer. If you need to quantify it, say how much experience you have in terms of time and projects, but don't call yourself an engineer. Just don't do it. Stop it. And this is your time to strike. Okay. So your time to strike is literally when you see other people getting pulled into meetings. And I'm not telling you to aggressively. When I say strike, it kind of sounds like you're, a jerk. I'm not saying be a jerk about it, but what I'm saying is, let's do it in a different way. Your opportunity to shine and have people notice you is when your team lead or your SME is getting pulled into meetings and stuff like that. You can take on these, and not only that, but you're gonna start building a relationship with the person who's getting pulled into these meetings. And as long as you don't burn that bridge by saying, no, you can't work on that, that's my project now, when they want to come back. It's like, you're kind of you're lifting them up at the same time. Another opportunity for engineers, for junior engineers, actually, there was a guy that I used to know, I used to hang out with in Oregon. I won't say where, but he was a senior engineer, and he used to call himself the pocket engineer for the CTO. So this is another piece of advice for people going into tech. One of the highest paying positions is, anybody play Team Fortress 2? You know how you have a pocket medic? You're like the heavy, right? But you got a pocket medic that's keeping you alive. Having a pocket engineer, a CTO, they tried to make me, by the way, they're the what was it? The distinguished engineer in Toronto. When I changed over, on paper they gave me the software title finally, even though I was doing it for like 5 years. It was great. I got a raise automatically. And anyway, this distinguished engineer who had her skills were soft, and she knew it. She knew it. I got to be careful how I talk about this because she might watch someday. She knew her skills were soft, and she flew me into Toronto from Oregon because they wanted me, or Arizona, I can't remember. They needed me on this project. They needed me to consult with them because they had just bought internally. They had consumed our project that had completely embarrassed the entire Tivoli product line because it was better. That actually happened. I can provide references for that. And yeah, Tivoli Global Services was selling our stuff as a thing, and their customers were saying, "You need to go. Don't you have another product that does that Tivoli sells?" And they're like, "Oh." And then it became this huge thing, and they consumed us, and I had to go. So I'm in there at the first time I was ever officially in it, and it's this highly paid, very very soft, distinguished engineer was in there, and she identified me really quickly as the SME because I had kept my, and she came up to me many times during the whole thing, and I could tell she was courting me to be her pocket engineer. And this is the thing. So there are a lot of times there are people that decide to go the management route, and they know that they cannot survive. They don't even have time to research the technology to know the important decisions they have to make. This happened. I became the pocket engineer for the director of technology for several colleges in the area just because I was mentoring their kids. There was a vice president for a very, very big corporation that you would know, who is still on my Facebook. She actually at one point offered me a $250,000 job because she would sit with me for 20 minutes after, because she wanted the expertise. She wanted the estimate. This is not me bragging. This is me telling you a scenario that you might consider. And that is, by staying sharp, you might become the pocket engineer for one of these, and because these executives have to stay on top of this stuff, and they can't do it. And you've already said you're going to stay the best possible technologist there is on that particular thing. And so these CTOs, the people that rise to the highest levels of top, the people who rise to the highest levels of management in IT, the way they do it is they identify one or two pocket engineers who on paper aren't even associated with them. They're not on their team. They just, what they do is they build this thing. You lived in someone's pocket. Yeah. But this guy I was telling you about, that was his situation too. He was doing very well, and he had absolute job security no matter what. And he was paid very well. He's paid much more than the average person in his field because he was this CTO's pocket engineer. And the CTO's like, I am not letting this person go. And I don't even know if pocket engineer is a term. That's something I say. Maybe I coined it. I don't know. But you can be somebody's pocket engineer, and you can make them shine. If you're okay with giving up the limelight and keeping dirty with your hands in the tech, Wozniak was Steve Jobs' pocket engineer, right? And frankly, Woz didn't want the limelight. He didn't want to be doing all the thing, telling people, making them up. I can imagine Woz and the people that were on Steve Jobs' tech team, a lot of them didn't get any of the credit. Steve Jobs, though, he got all the credit. And all these engineers were okay being the pocket engineers for Steve Jobs and making him look good. They didn't care. And they got paid. They got well. They were very well remunerated. Why do you care about all of this? Because you can avoid manager suck. You can avoid becoming a manager and getting taken away from the technology and the engineering. One of the ways to do that is to stay really, really good And the way to get paid better is to make those personal relationships with people who are going to be judged based on how much they know. And they all know that their skills are soft. And the good ones, the ones that rise to the highest point, the highest point in the CTOs, and then they have a very elite team of pocket engineers in the background making them look good. And if you're okay with that, you will do very well, and you will never have to be the face of the technologist. If you want to be the face, then you're good with social skills, and you don't necessarily want to have your hands dirty in engineering. That's another path for you. Anyway, user growth at work, and I also hate it. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, one time people will try to make you your pocket engineer without even doing it. This is a true story that actually happened to me when I was at Nike. I sent around an architectural document talking about the future of where we needed to go, and it set forth some 5-year plan sorts of things. And I sent it to a few isolated people because I was the engineer. It wasn't appropriate for me to spam the entire team, right? So I sent it. I sent it to 2 people. I sent it to my manager, and I sent it to one of the directors of technology. And my manager knew it. And within a day, this is a true story, within a day, my manager brought me in and she said, "You recognize this?" And it was a letter. It was an email. It was my exact email sent by this director who had literally taken his name off and put my name on it and kept it verbatim. Didn't even change a word. I am not even kidding. That totally happened. And I wish I could get Barb to tell you how that happened when she brought me in. That actually happened. That's a sign that you're good at what you do, because people are trying to plagiarize your ideas, and you have to be very careful with that, right? Because this guy wanted that happened. Another thing, I did this sort of the same thing online, and an entire internet service provider took over my stuff, and my manager at the time, she goes, "Wait, didn't you write this document?" Yeah, they just copy and pasted our website and put it on their website and put it under their name. It happens all the time. You're going to have to fight this all the time, and the only way to do that is to create trusted relationships and higher management, because Barb saw that, my manager, and then she immediately said, "What are we going to do about this?" And we confronted him. We both went to him and said, "This isn't cool. Like, why are you doing that?" And he got totally reprimanded by upper management for that. And my cred went through the roof on that. Because now everybody knew that this guy's good idea had actually come from me, even though I was just an engineer. So anyway, that's how to navigate the tech world and try to stay. But actually, one of the reasons that I thought IBM was going to be the best place for me to go is because there's another reality here that you need to understand. There's only so much money you can make for your tech skills, even in Silicon Valley. At a certain point, if you want to make the big bucks, you have to go to management. This is an unfortunate reality, financial reality, of the tech world, and it sucks. It totally sucks. You either have to, and that usually means that you have to make the technology or be a partner and then sell your company. All the people that become millionaires, and it's a totally different attack. And there are Twitch streamers and YouTubers who will talk ad nauseum about how to hack capitalism and ride Silicon Valley all the way to your millionaire status. I'm not interested in any of that. But one of the reasons I got tempted by IBM was because IBM had a title called Distinguished Engineer, which turns out to be total bullshit. What it is, I thought it was that IBM had figured out a way to remunerate, is that the word? To pay the people who had the tech skills and to keep them increasing in income up to the executive level. So that normal idea, okay, I'm going to be a technologist, now I have to cut over to management. Okay, sucks to be a manager, but I'm making kick-ass money, right? I thought wrongly that you could just continue the tech path all the way up to the top, to the executive level. You cannot. You absolutely cannot do that. At a certain point, and this is true everywhere, at a certain point, you have to cut over to management. You get soft on your tech skills, and you got to hope that the trajectory on management takes you all the way to the top. If it doesn't, you're stuck in that very dangerous place where you get eliminated, and now your tech skills are soft, and you don't have the ability to turn around and get another job because your tech skills are soft. There you go. Avoid manager suck. That was a very long video, but I feel like it's an important one.